beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to dive in. I apologize if it's noisy outside, okay? We're going to dive in and talk about being a freelancer slash independent contractor slash business owner. And I put that in quotation marks. I'll explain why in a second. Yeah, because a lot of people on YouTube are business owners, entrepreneurs. I hate the term entrepreneur, okay? I think it's misused in a lot of different ways. I also think business owner is misused in a lot of different ways. But independent contractor and freelancer, those tend to be used appropriately. So we're going to dive in and talk about why I hate doing all that stuff. So anyway, a lot of people advocate and talk about how, like, you know, being social media content creator, being a YouTuber, posting on Instagram, you know, the whole 9 yards. Everybody wants to do it, and to be honest, I think that that's great. Like, you know, I remember being at work and my supervisor came in and she was just like, can you believe in the 80s, you know, every kid wanted to be an astronaut? And now every kid wants to be a content creator. And she was like appalled by this information. Well, I think that it's great. Like, if a child, like a 5-year-old, wants to be a content creator, like, I think that's great because they could start right now, you know. Whereas a 5-year-old, if they wanted to be an astronaut, it's like, well, you have to wait and you have to train and you have to put so many years of experience into it, you know. So I think it's good when younger individuals want to be a freelancer, independent contractor, a YouTuber, social media creator. I mean, there's certain jobs you can't necessarily do here in the United States until you reach a certain age, but like doing YouTube, posting on Instagram, like if your parents are there to help you, because technically they're the ones who are supposed to sign off when you're under 18. So if they're for it, then sure, I say go for it. I don't think that it's anything insulting or bad, you know, that kids want to do it. I think it's a wonderful thing. One thing I wanted to talk about, though, is why I hate it. And as a music therapist, we do tend to fall into the freelance independent contractor category. Sometimes we even do become entrepreneurs and business owners because we do start our own business, or we start our own website, or we post on YouTube like me. You all know that I post on YouTube because I'm trying to practice how to be a leader in the business community and how to market and manage, because marketing is one of those topics that I'm not very good at. So that's why I do YouTube. It's not, I mean, I would love to get paid, but like, I don't want that to be my full-time job. I want to work in a hospital. I've always wanted, well, I've always wanted to do that. No, I've wanted to do it for the past like 3 years now. So anyway, but yeah, so let's talk about what a lot of people mention about being an independent contractor and the positives, and then I'm going to tell you guys my personal experience, because I did work as a music therapist, freelancer. I did work as a music teacher, independent contractor. I mean, I am doing this, so I guess I'll throw my 2 cents into that. But yeah, but I did work 3 jobs that fell into this independent contractor freelance category. 3 real jobs, not including social media, YouTube, okay? So, one thing that a lot of people talk about is the flexibility. And yes, it is flexible, okay? Like, I am not a morning person. So if I did not want to start, like, okay, so like when I was a music teacher, there were hours that you had to go, okay? Like, you had to go Fridays at 3 because, like, your students, you were assigned to a certain number of students, and those students were coming in at that time. But when I was a music therapist, it was based on hours. So it was like, you have to do 5 hours in 1 week. You can do them whenever you want. Now, again, it was client-based, so, like, I couldn't walk in there at 2 in the morning doing music therapy sessions, but I could go anytime between, like, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., because those were the visiting hours. So, essentially, yeah, I mean, if I wanted to not work on Monday, I didn't have to. As a music therapist, I could go do those hours on Tuesday, and I could do them all day on Tuesday, or I could split it up and do 1 hour each day. You know, as long as I got 5 hours in by the end of the week, that was all that mattered. So in that case, yes, it was flexible, but to be honest, I didn't like that it was flexible, because then I just didn't want to go at all. Like, I'll be honest, like, it was, I ended up actually doing, when I was in music therapy freelancer, I ended up doing like Monday from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1 to 2. Yeah, and then I got out of there at 3. So, like, I ended up doing a regular day because, like, if I did 1 hour every day, or if I waited until like Saturday, because it was a Sunday through Saturday hour thing, I wouldn't do it, or I wouldn't want to do it. So I ended up doing it Monday morning in the morning because I would have not done it otherwise. So in that case, it didn't necessarily work for me. In terms of social media, because flexibility wise, yes, you can record videos at any point. You could actually do it overnight if you wanted to record videos at 2 in the morning, you know, and you could post them at that time. Maybe that appeals to your like dynamic, or you could schedule them, you know what I'm saying? But like, you could do it anytime you want. But the problem is that, like, with social media, like, you and this happens with real jobs too, like they email us all the time. Like, I remember I worked for this one company, and like, they emailed me, you know, over the weekend constantly. My man, like, he doesn't work in healthcare. Now, I work in healthcare, so it's kind of expected that you do have to be on call to some degree. But, like, my man, he does not work in healthcare, and he has to answer emails after hours. And it's like, why? You don't have to save a life. You don't have the skills to save a life. Like, you know, me getting called into the emergency room randomly, or getting emails from patients that would be in the emergency room prior to my shift, like, that's a different, like, it's annoying, yeah, but it's important, and that's a different story. But there's no reason why corporate America in non-healthcare fields, even music teaching, music therapy, for sure, you do not need to be on call for music therapy. I'm sorry, but we cannot save lives. A music teacher cannot save lives. A corporate finance individual manager to some degree, if you're working in corporate America and not in healthcare, like, you guys can't save lives. So I don't really understand why you need to be on call. Same thing goes for social media. I don't know why you need to be on call, because you can't save a life, like, through YouTube, right? But that's what tends to happen, and like, the whole world is working around the clock now, and answering emails and answering comments and posting videos and recording videos. So even though it's flexible, you're still working probably more than you would if you had a typical regular job. Again, like, I did work in certain places where it was you clock in at 9, you clock out at 5, and that's it. And that was a place that you didn't have access to your email outside of being in the office because of HIPAA. So, and that was actually really nice. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. So, but with flexibility comes working harder. Think like New York, because in New York, everybody is trying to get your job. So if you miss a day, like if you don't work Christmas, somebody will work Christmas, and then they'll end up taking your job. So like, that's what ends up happening with flexibility. So just be leery. Okay, so hours. I mentioned this already, like, flexibility with the hours and the location. You could technically, like, sit on the beach and do this stuff if you really wanted to. With music therapy, I couldn't necessarily do that, obviously, but I guess, well, we don't want to do pre-recorded music therapy sessions, because that would go against the whole advocacy thing, and then people would start, like, cutting our pay. Music teaching is kind of the same way. Like, if you don't physically go there, like, then they won't hire you, or they'll cheapen your pay. That's what happens. So, but for social media, yeah, you could technically do it on the beach if you want. But you can do other jobs on the beach too. Like, you can be a college professor and teach online and sit, like, in the woods. You know, you could sit on the deck. You could sit in Florida on the beach. You know, you don't have to be a content creator to do it. You also don't have to be an independent contractor freelancer, because like some freelancers still have to go to the job. Think plumbers, electricians. I already mentioned music therapy, music teachers. So so that's hours and location. That's not always flexible in terms of location wise. All right, taxes. Taxes and money, those are the two next ones. These go hand in hand. You know how I feel about money. Okay, so here's the deal when you're an independent freelancer. I'm not going to put entrepreneur, business professional into this, because usually if you're running a business, you have a financial advisor, or at least you should, or an accountant. So I'm not going to group these people together because they're supposed to have somebody actually looking at the numbers and calculating this. But if you're social media content creator, if you're a freelance music therapist, if you're a freelance music educator, here's the deal. You need to figure out how much you're supposed to get paid, like fairly with benefits, and then you have to double that salary. Because what ends up happening with freelancers is your salary is cut in half because you have to pay taxes and you have to pay health care. And whenever I tell people that, they're always just like, oh, no, health care doesn't cost that much. Oh, taxes don't cost that much. They do. Oh, look, you can see the reflection of myself in the glasses. But no, yes, they do. They do. Okay, so let's take a CNA, okay, certified nursing assistant, because that pay ratio is pretty common, well, within my general area. So CNAs at a normal organization here in this state that I'm living in, the pay is about $12 an hour. If you're lucky, they could start you. Usually it's like 10 to 12. Okay, so 10 to 12. That's like for a CNA. Well, let's just do 10 to make it easy. So if you're a CNA and you're working in a nursing home, then you get paid 10 an hour. You're working 40 hours, maybe more, because CNAs tend to work more. You're getting benefits, and your taxes, I'm hoping, are coming out of your paycheck. So, and the take home then is maybe a little less than 10 an hour. Maybe it's more like 9. Okay? So, if you're a CNA and you're working freelance, then what ends up happening is you need to make 20 an hour, 20 to 24 an hour, because what ends up happening is if you're freelance, usually you're driving to a lot of different locations, especially in healthcare. At least I used to do that as a music therapist and as a music teacher. So you're driving to all these different locations, so you have gas, right? And they don't cover, they do this, it's so annoying. Businesses will make sure that your clients, so like you have your house, they'll make sure your first client is the farthest from your house, and then everybody else is pretty close, and then the last client is the farthest from your house, because for tax purposes with driving, you can't collect going to the job and you can't collect going home, but you can collect everybody in between. So like you need to keep that in mind, because people say, oh, you can write off your mileage. Well, no, like if you're driving 30 miles to the first client and then every other client is like 5 miles total, and then you're driving 30 miles home, well, you can't collect that 60 miles, but you can collect the 5. So like you will get ripped off, right, in that regard. And then with insurance, I don't know if anyone knows how expensive health insurance is, but it's about $200 to $500 a month on average, give or take, for one person. So if you have a family, it's about, I think my parents pay about $2,000, like when my father didn't have a job. So it's a lot of money for healthcare, okay? That's more than a mortgage, $2,000 a month. But it's essential, and we all need to have one. need to have health insurance. I don't know if it's necessary in every state, but it's definitely necessary here. You will get penalized on your taxes if you don't have health insurance living in this state in particular. And then last but certainly not least, taxes. When you get paid as a freelancer, they do not take out taxes. So it looks like you're having more money come in, but you're not. And the IRS will find you, and they will take every single thing you own. Like, these people do not mess around. They are actually almost like a mob to some degree, yet they can legally do the things that they do. So, like, if any of you have seen Godfather, Scarface, any of those scary mob or even drug dealer type of shows, because those are kind of popular now, the IRS, I don't think that they'll actually kill anybody, you know, but they can take every single thing you own. They can like cancel your bank accounts. They can stop your life. You will be living on the street if you don't pay the IRS. These people don't mess around. I respect them for that. I actually love the fact that they don't mess around, to be honest. And so yeah, so that's the thing. So if you're a CNA freelancer, you do need to get paid $20 an hour, because where you're driving to, the first stop is and the last stop is not going to be covered. Then you're going to have to pay almost $500 a month extra for health insurance. So that's $100 a week, right? And then you're also going to have to pay taxes on that money, which we can kind of estimate is, again, probably another $300 to $500. So we just estimated like an extra $1,000. Let's just throw in another $500. No, actually that's a little too much. Maybe we'll do $100. So you're paying an extra $1,100 as a freelancer CNA. So that's why you need to get paid double, because of all the stuff that's not covered. And that goes for any type of freelance position. If you're a music teacher, your starting rate probably isn't 10 an hour. Maybe it's more like 20, like, you know, if you're a substitute teacher. So then you'd have to double that to 40 if you're teaching independently. Music therapist, you know me, I say 30 an hour at a facility. So you got to double it to 60. And let me tell you, friends, I always get pushback when I ask for 60 an hour from a freelance company. Obviously, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to pay somebody, but hey, it's a lot of money to live. So I need to get health insurance as a music therapist. Duh. I need to pay my taxes as a citizen of the United States and living here in this state. Duh. And you're expecting me to drive to my job. So I don't know what you want me to do. Like, you know, where is the money going to come from if you don't pay me $60 an hour as a freelancer? So, like, so you need to, because you need to take care of yourself before you can practice music therapy or help anybody else. So yeah, and then social media content creator, I guess you don't technically drive, but maybe if you're doing like a collab or something, that's when the driving would go into play. But all the other stuff like the health insurance and the taxes, all that stuff still applies to you. Just ask for double, okay? Just get double. It's, you know, there's always people stealing money from us. There's always people hacking our credit cards. So you need to set yourself up for success. Okay, so let's see. I think the last and final portion is the whole side hustle topic. A lot of people talk about side hustling and, you know, doing a I'm sick and tired of hearing this. That's why I'm making faces. But a lot of people talk about, like, doing a hobby. Do a hobby that makes you money. Do a hobby that's creative. Do a hobby that's, like, helps you physically. And I'm sick and tired of hearing about it, because usually people lump two together. They'll do the hobby that makes them money, and then they'll do the creative hobby to get money also. Or they'll do the hobby that makes them money and the exercise hobby together to make money. And honestly, friends, like I said, maybe that works for you. Maybe that works for your lifestyle. Maybe that's what you want. But that is not what I want at all. I want one job and I want to put 110% into that one job. And I understand that sometimes physicians do get called to different hospitals within the same unit. It happens, actually, the hospital that I was in the emergency room working in, we had 3 different locations. So me and my physicians, we would travel to the 3 different locations depending on the shift. But that's different because you're still doing the same role, just at different locations with different populations. I don't really think that that's a problem because you're still working like 8 to 10 hours, sometimes 12. You know, you're not working like 8 hours here and then another 10 hours somewhere else. So what I'm saying about the side hustle is I do not like working 8 hours at one place and then working 8 hours at another place. I don't like it. I'm currently doing it because school, right? But like it's only for a short period of time. In my professional life, I want one job and I want to do it 110%, and I don't really care if I spend 100 hours doing it because it's one particular job for one particular organization. Maybe it's different facilities, different offices within that organization, but it's still one job, and that's what I want. And it's going to make me a significant sustainable salary. See, these side hustles don't necessarily guarantee you a sustainable salary. And that's one of my biggest arguments. Like, coming out with a bachelor's degree, people think they can pay you junk because you're young, but no, you need a sustainable salary. And side hustles don't necessarily guarantee a sustainable salary. And then if you're doing 2 different jobs, like I at one point was a music therapist and then teaching music lessons, and I was doing both of them at the same time, like what burnout. I got burned out in like a year, and I still continued to do it, of course, because like I needed the money, and I think I was in school at the time, but it's just not good for 40 years. How are you supposed to do that for like 40, 50 years and then retire? Like, it just doesn't work that way. No, I don't think that anybody did it in the generation before us, so why is our generation doing it? Anyway, that's my spiel. I'm not doing side hustles. Like, I'm not doing freelance. I'm working one job and giving 110%, and that's that. And like, I'm in it right now. I'm doing side hustle stuff, but like it's for educational purposes, and it's only temporary, right? Like, because school's gonna last a really long time, but it's not gonna be forever. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know, that's just me. I'm in school to have one job at a prestigious hospital. That's the lifestyle I want, that's the job I want, and that's what I'm striving for. I cannot sustainably rely on an income that will provide for me and my family doing 2 jobs. I cannot rely on an income to provide for my family being a freelance independent contractor. I'm sorry. I did try, okay, and it didn't work out. I tried 3 times and it didn't work out, so that's the end of that. And plus I'm good at school, so I can do it. But anyway, if it's for you, like maybe you like it, maybe you like hustling and bustling. Rich people don't hustle and bustle, though. Let's just like put that out there before. You can tell that I'm really like, I really thought about this. Rich people do not hustle. They work smarter, not harder. They invest. They do not side hustle. Let's just put that out there. So, but anyway, I don't know. Maybe some people, I guess, must like it. They must like keeping busy. But I don't know. I got plenty of stuff in my personal life to keep me busy. I don't need a job. I don't need another job, I should say. One job, school, this is a learning passion project, and exercising, and my family. That's enough. So anyway, And that's my spiel, but again, you gotta do what's right for you. Maybe it's good for you, maybe you like it, maybe you don't have kids, maybe you don't have a family, maybe you're retired and you want to do a side hustle, you want to do social media. I love like old people doing social media. I think it's really nice. Maybe you're young and you don't want to go to school yet, or you're too young to even go to school. I think it's good to sort of do these types of jobs. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you and your partner both side hustle and you like it, and you work 2 jobs. Both of you work 2 separate jobs and you like it. I mean, I'm not here to tell you not to do it. I'm just telling you that for me, it's not sustainable for where I live. It's not sustainable for my family, and I've tried 3 times and I don't want to do it again. I don't want to rely on doing it again. So I don't know. I don't really think that being a freelance, independent contractor, entrepreneur, business owner is all that it's cracked up to be, especially since I was in it. And with my MBA, because I get this question a lot, like, do you want to start your own business? Absolutely not. I do not. If something happens and I have to, yes, I know how, but no, I don't. I do not want to open my own medical practice. I do not want to start my own business. I want to work on the leadership board at a hospital, or I'll take an office manager role too. That's fine. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.